What up and welcome to Rama Screen YouTube channel. And here's my review of The Boogeyman. Let's rock this. Okay, so The Boogeyman is not technically a brand new movie per se. They already screened it back at CinemaCon, and prior to that, I heard that this film was supposed to directly hit streaming service Hulu, but then it received positive reactions from the early test screenings and from Stephen King himself. So the studio and the producers were like, you know what? Everybody seems to like it. So why not just give it a theatrical release? Listen, I don't know who those audiences were in those early test screenings and at CinemaCon, but they must have been the kind of people who are easily amused and easily impressed by the latest shiny object. Because I'm telling you, the Boogeyman is not all that it's cracked up to be. In fact, the setups, the build-ups, and the jump scares are formulaic and predictable. Don't get me wrong, it starts out promising when it was all about who's behind the closet door. Creepy, spooky, and chilling. But what begins as a psychological horror eventually turns into a action creature monster movie. And personally, I would have liked it more if The Boogeyman had just stayed as a psychological horror the entire time. Based on Stephen King's short story, scripted by Scott Beck and Brian Woods and Mark Heyman, and directed by Rob Savage. The Boogeyman is about high school student Sadie Harper and her younger sister Sawyer, who are reeling from the recent death of their mother and are not getting much support from their father, Will, a therapist who is dealing with his own pain. When a desperate patient unexpectedly shows up at their home seeking help, he leaves behind a terrifying supernatural entity that preys on families and feeds on the suffering of its victims. Starring Sophie Thatcher, Chris Messina, Vivian Leroy Blair, Madison Hu, and David Dasmalchian. That's the thing with Stephen King adaptations, isn't it? I mean, not all of them are gonna be classics like It or The Shining. Sometimes, most times, they are just average, like last year's Mr. Harrigan's Phone, for example, and The Boogeyman. I don't blame Hollywood for always wanting to dig into Stephen King's story treasure trove to see what they could bring out as their next potential hit, but it's a bit of a crapshoot or a gamble, if you will. In the case of the Boogeyman, even the setups are too intentional and too manufactured instead of them being a natural progression of the story. And of course, two of the screenwriters are the same guys who gave us a Quiet Place franchise because the Boogeyman basically bears similar resemblance to that. Except this time, instead of sensitivity to sound, this one is sensitivity to light. Wow, what a great original concept. Insert sarcasm. Some folks would praise the performances of the two lead girls, but I'd rather categorize them as adequate, meaning any other two actresses of their age could have done an equally decent job. Sophie and Vivian hit the emotional beats just fine, but remarkable is not how I would describe it. The same goes for Chris Messina, who the entire time in this film just looks like he's doing this project only for the paycheck. So, yeah, overall, I give The Boogeyman the rating of 2.5 out of 5. The Boogeyman could have been better. The Boogeyman could have been scarier. The Boogeyman could have been so much more. Sadly, it is not. So that's it. That's my review of The Boogeyman. Smash that like button. Share this video with everyone you know. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Let's rock this.